Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we've got another brand new Haolonggood figure to take a look at. This is actually our first of two Haolonggood reviews for today, because we will have the Pachyrhinosaurus review up later today. But you can see we've got the Wuerhosaurus, and this one's really cool because we really don't get many figures of this species, and in fact, I can only really think of one other one, which would be the Vitae release, so I'm super psyched to have a brand new one coming from one of my favorite companies at this point in time, Haolonggood. They have just been killing it with some of the best figures I've ever seen anywhere, and not only that, but they've released a lot of herbivores lately, and even though I'm pretty much dying at this point to see some, carnivorous dinosaurs come from Haolonggood, I've really been enjoying these herbivores because more often than not, you usually get just carnivore after carnivore after carnivore from so many different companies, so it is a breath of fresh air to sometimes get the species that you don't often see get much love. And as you can see, we've got a shot here on the front of the box of the two different paint variants, because as per usual, they do release this in two different paint variants. You can also see that this is in 1/35th scale. What you are looking at right now is the box of both, which is pretty much the same, per paint variant, it's the same box. There's no real difference, but you can see what the front and the back of the box look like, basically, because you can see it's just a little bit styled differently. But you can see, if we actually move this out of the way, we take a look here at the top of the box, you got a shot here of quite a few of the other figures that are released currently from Haolonggood, most of which we've reviewed already. We've got the Pachyrhinosaurus, which again, like I said, will be up later today, and then we've also got the Edmontonia, which will be up on the channel very soon, recently released. So really exciting to see so much awesomeness coming from Haolonggood. So let's pop these boxes open and check them out. And here are our absolutely beautiful looking Wuerhosaurus figures, and I must say that I think they look way better here in hand than I actually thought they did. I had seen quite a few images of them, and one thing that, and I will say, even though they look really good, I think there's still one thing missing from this figure specifically, or at least these two different paint variants of this figure. There's a dark wash missing, and I feel like they had applied a gorgeous dark wash to their Pseudoceratops not long ago, and I can instantly see that, again, the dark wash is missing from this figure, and I feel like it really could have benefited from it, especially when it comes to really kind of ironing out some of the detail in the face. It kind of just gets lost in the shuffle without it, but at the same time, I will say both paint variants definitely look a lot nicer here in hand than I actually expected them to. And I always expect at this point good stuff from Haolonggood, but I had seen images of other people and their figures in hand, and at first I was like, oh, well, they don't look as great as I thought they were going to, but here in hand, way better than I was expecting, so that's definitely good news. And both paint variants, again, look really good as far as the coloration chosen, as well as the design. I like how they have a very similar design, but different colors to them, so that's pretty cool. I like the way that Haolonggood does that, to just give them, enough difference where they look obviously quite different from each other, but at the same time a similar design to where they look like maybe they could be part of the same herd, potentially. So let's jump to a closer look at both of these right now. So we will begin with the grayish variant, and you can see, again, the head sculpt looks really nice, and I feel like the paintwork, honestly, of the face doesn't do the head sculpt justice, because it is a really nicely done head sculpt, and there's some very nice fine detail included in that head sculpt, but because the coloration is so light, it almost washes the detail away, so you can't quite see how good it looks. And again, a dark wash really would have helped that to, just a really nice, very subtle dark wash to really bring the detail out in the face. I feel like would have highlighted a lot of the detail very nicely. But you can see, again, the nostrils are sculpted out. You can see the mouth there. You can also see there's like a nice orangish tone leading up there along the face, which looks really nice. The eyes sculpted quite beautifully, painted very nicely with a nice glossy black, very small eye. You can see even like some nice creasing in the eye socket area, as well as some nice creasing right there behind the head, because the dinosaur does have its head turned in a left-leaning position, so you would see some creasing in the skin right there. And you continue to see all sorts of really nice detailing as you move down the course of the neck of our Wuerhosaurus. You can see, again, all kinds of really nice skin texture and nice, creasing in the skin and everything the entire way down. Lots of wrinkling and creasing through the course of the neck, as well as a really nicely sculpted throat. Again, you can see more of the skin wrinkles and stuff as you lead down. Really nice light tone for the lower part of the body. And again, we've got the nice grayish tones, as well as like some squiggly lines moving through, just designing through, as well as like some spots and stuff of other variations of color. You can see the plates beginning to pick up here on the back of the neck of the dinosaur, but they remain that light tone of color that you see creeping through many different areas here at first, before transitioning to, like, some brownish tones. And on top of those brownish tones, you also see, like, mixtures of like orangish tones and other variations of color as well. Something very common when it comes to Haolonggood releases is including tons of different color variation with their figures. You definitely see that here, as well as some incredibly nice sculpt work, like specifically because this plate's a little bit bigger than the others. You can really see how nice the detailing looks in that plate, and also see how nice and vibrant the scale detail is. As you move down from the plate back into the body, you can really see some nice scale detail there. But as you move down here a little bit further, you continue to see some nice detailing moving into the front leg. You can see this leg is taking a step forward. There's nice muscle definition moving down, and just tons of color variation, all really, really smoothly applied. You can see that the, striping and designing and patterning through the course of the model is super well done. It all looks 100% natural, very much so like a real living animal. As you move down, though, into the leg, you can see nice creasing and everything again, and more really nice paintwork. You've also got a nice looking foot sculpt there as you move down. The foot sculpt doesn't want to focus perfectly. There you go. You can see the nails are painted quite nicely as well. It's a pretty small foot sculpt to see such really nice paintwork on it, so that's impressive. And as you move up here again into the stomach, you can see a little bit of girth in our Wuerhosaurus, as well as, again, all kinds of scale detail, as well as lots of wrinkling and creasing, the skin kind of reacting to the movement of the leg right here leading into the thigh. And then you can also see some nice muscle definition in the thigh. There are also some osteoderms poking up here and there as you move through the course of the model. You can see the hip bone protruding from the skin a bit right there. Even like, some tensing and everything leading off of the back of the thigh right there, showing again the movement of the leg. Really nice muscle definition there in the calf as well. Nice knee, and then you can see how this foot is leaving the ground. The dinosaur's taking a step, and this foot is again trailing more so than the other one, so you can see how the toes are lifting up off of the ground. Really nicely sculpted foot, nicely painted nails as well. And then as you lead up here, you continue to have that nice kind of like mixture of like orangish and reddish browns and stuff up here in the plates as you move along, just adding that nice element of flashiness to the dinosaur. And we see that coloration follow through the entire way out. I love that they have applied those kind of like sort of squiggly lines that we see down here on the body up into the plates as well. I think it looks really cool. And again, more skin reacting off of the back of the thigh leading up into the tail, and then more variations of that lighter coloration, as well as grays and all kinds of color browns and stuff as you move out. Really nice elegant curve to the tail as well. And then you've got the thagomizers out here at the end of the tail. They also sport kind of like some orangish and brownish tones and stuff, just to give those even an area of flashiness. And then we end the tail in that same similar style of coloration, and you can really see how nice that curve is. Very small curve to the tail from up above, but it looks really good. And you can see the plates on the inside and everything all look really nice. They don't get lazy with their paintwork, that's for sure. They add so much paint and coloration to their figures. It's absolutely amazing to me how we had Haolonggood around for a little while, but I don't think they've ever made even close to the impact that they have made this year, just releasing banger after banger when it comes to their releases. As you move along the underside of the model, you can again see some more nice looking skin texture and stuff. You've got the cloaca right there, and as you move through, you can see some very impressive girth in the stomach region of our Wuerhosaurus as we move back up into the throat. And then if we take a look at the opposing side, again, it's going to look pretty much just as it did the first time we had taken a look at the initial side, except for the fact that the head is turned away from us now. But you can see the only thing that's really different over here is the positioning of the legs. Again, with the dinosaur walking along, you would definitely expect to see some difference when it comes to the positioning of the legs. Very nice naturalistic pose and positioning for the dinosaur. I like that it's kind of peaceful looking, just walking along. Doesn't look like it's trying to defend itself or anything like that, just enjoying its day, maybe feeding or something, maybe walking down to the watering hole, and the head's kind of tilted as it's about to lead down and take a drink. But as you move through, again, all the detail is just as incredible over here as we had seen on the initial side. The paintwork as well looks absolutely fantastic. Then We've also got this variant. We have the greenish variant. And honestly, I thought I was going to like the grayish one the most, but I think I like this one better. I feel like you can kind of make out the face a little bit better here. You can see the detailing a little nicer on this one because maybe it's just because I guess the lighter tone of the lower half of the dinosaur isn't quite as bright as we had seen on the first version. So you can make out the coloration, you can make out the detail and everything. I think just a little nicer in the face on this version. You can see similar paintwork though as far as like the design goes as we lead back. Nicely painted eye. I like that it darkens there around the eye. If we take a look at the opposing side, similar again over here to what we had just seen on the initial side. Really nice vibrant greens as we move down. And when it comes to vibrant colors, you can really see the plates on this one are super vibrant. But as you move down, you can see, of course, the sculpt is the same as the initial one. There's no difference between the two. They're just two different paint variants. But as you move down, you'll see that the design is pretty much the same as we had seen on the first version, except now we've just kind of swapped the colors out. And we now have, instead of grays, we have green. But we continue to have those kind of squiggly lines and the spots and stuff through the course of the model. Really nice subtle variation of color through the course of the model, as well as you can see slightly different tones here running along the underside. I just really like the coloration of this one. And then as you move up into the plates, you can again see more of those orangish tones, similar to what we had seen in the other one, but much brighter yellows on this one, rather than the kind of like reddish sort of brown tones that we had seen on the other one. You still have more of that sort of striping and stuff, but I think it stands out a lot nicer here on this one when it comes to the lighter tones of the plates. Those plates absolutely shine on the back of this Wuerhosaurus. And you can continue to see, again, everything looks, like I said, pretty much like the first version, but just swapped as far as the coloration goes. Similar color to the Thagomisers, though. They didn't really alter those very much, but the rest of the body definitely has a bit of difference when it comes to the tones of color used. But I would say this is my favorite of the two. I really, really like this color variant, and even though I do like the other one a lot more, I feel like this one almost more so represents a male, and the other one would maybe be the female, because this one's just so much more flashy, so much brighter than the other one. So I would probably, if I were to put my money on which one would be a male, which one would be a female, I'd say this one's probably the male, and I think this one again is just the superior of the two when it comes to the coloration. But I highly recommend grabbing both so you can have a mating pair. But definitely, I would say the best Wuerhosaurus on the market. Even though I really like the Vitae one, I would have to go with this one as the superior version. Now, as far as the size goes, these figures are definitely small, and considering they are Wuerhosaurus figures in 1/35th scale, you're going to expect them to be pretty small. But for a length, you are looking at a little over 6 3/4 inches, heading towards 7 inches, or about 17.5 centimeters. And then height-wise, to the back of the plates, a little under 2.5 inches, or just about 6 centimeters almost on the dot. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Haolonggood, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our Haolonggood Wuerhosaurus. And you can see that obviously everything here is bigger than our Wuerhosaurus, except maybe Muldoon. He's taller, but not quite longer or anything, I guess, if you laid him down next to it. But regardless, you can see these figures are small, pretty much exactly as I expected them to be. Definitely didn't expect large figures when it comes to 1/35th scale Wuerhosaurus. But for another comparison to further help give you an idea of the size, and if we take one of the Wuerhosaurus out, leave one in, you can see next to the Haolonggood Pseudoceratops, which I was actually just speaking of earlier, and how good the dark wash is, you can see again roughly what the size is. This was definitely a very popular release from Haolonggood, so I felt like this one would be a good one to compare. And another extremely popular figure from Haolonggood, and one that was recently revamped, we have the Ouranosaurus. They recently had gone ahead and resculpted some areas of the Ouranosaurus out to make it more accurate, and I don't know for sure if that's the one you would get now if you purchased from like Lana Time Shop or anything. I'm not too sure. I'll have to contact them and ask, because I definitely want to get the updated version. But you can see a size here next to the Wuerhosaurus, yet again showing you that the Wuerhosaurus is quite a bit smaller. And now we have another size comparison with another Haolonggood release, but this time you can actually see that the Wuerhosaurus is not the smallest figure they have out so far, which is good news, at least if you were looking toward having something that's not super small, although they're pretty small regardless. You can at least see the Wuerhosaurus is not the smallest release from Haolonggood so far. And then for another comparison, and the final comparison, here is a repainted version of the Vitae version of the Wuerhosaurus. And you can see they are very similar. This is not a very good repaint, by the way. This is a repaint I had done a long time ago. Not very good at all. But it's basically just to bring it in case you have the older Vitae version. This will definitely help to give you an idea of the size next to the newer Haolonggood version, and to show you that if you have the Vitae version, you'll definitely have a very good idea of the size of this newest version from Haolonggood. So this brand new Haolonggood Wuerhosaurus is yet another really beautiful figure. I think they have done a phenomenal job on this, and yet again, like I said, nicer in hand than I expected them to be. You know, one of my biggest criticisms when I had first seen the promotional images for them was the fact that without the dark wash, the face detail kind of gets lost, and I think in general it just adds realism to the model to add that dark wash. But having it here in person, the face definitely doesn't look half as bad as I thought it would, and the detail definitely pops nicer than I expected. It still would look better if they had begun including those dark washes, because they look great on the figures they've used them on, but it also doesn't take away from the figure too much, I would say. And the paintwork through the course of the model looks exceptionally well done. Again, when it comes to a paint scheme like this, a design like this with so much going on, it's always so impressive to me how smooth and naturalistic the actual paint applications are from Haolonggood. You know, yet again, the designing and patterning moving through the course of the model looks extremely realistic and natural with the way it's applied. Nothing on this looks like paint on a figure. It all looks like real body color, which is probably the best compliment I think you can give a paint application. And they've also chosen some really nice tones of color for both. Really cool design and pattern through the course of the model, and I like the fact that again you kind of have like a male and female in my opinion as far as the coloration goes, which is definitely a huge plus for this release. On top of that, the sculpt is incredibly well done, very highly detailed. You know, as every Haolonggood release always is, there's lots of gorgeous sculpt and detail. It's all very vibrant, very crisp on the sculpt itself, and the pose is also really quite nice. You know, nice just walking along, nice naturalistic pose, nothing too flashy, and I always can appreciate that. So if you are interested in grabbing one of these or both of these for yourself, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that on Lana Time Shop's website right now. That's exactly where I got mine, and I suggest that's where you get yours. So make sure you check the link that I will include in the description. Go grab yourself a pair, or at the very least just one, of these gorgeous Wuerhosaurus, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.